Welcome to Ultimate Tropicals. Hi, my name's Kelvin White and I've been an exotic plant hobbyist for well over 20 years. I've been growing exotic plants in my outside garden here in the UK with some degree of success, but also a good number of failures as I tried to push the boundaries as far as possible in the UK climate. My one little moment of fame was having my garden featured in the European Palm Society magazine, Camerops, way back in 2007. In recent times, my main passion has turned towards the rare exotic genus of Philodendron and Anthurium that can be found in the South American rainforests of Colombia and Ecuador. As any hobbyist and collector will know, growing these rare aroids is a real challenge to get them to thrive and survive. But I guess that's the challenge of this very rewarding hobby. It was during the early stages of the COVID lockdown that I made the decision to turn my hobby into a business and help like-minded aroid enthusiasts to source and look after the plants they desire. Following conversations with my fellow hobbyists and collectors, I know there are a lot of concerns when it comes to sourcing good quality plants and then being able to take care of them once they've been sourced. Unfortunately, the practice of importing rare aroids and then making them available for resale here in the UK before they've had any opportunity to acclimatise is on the increase and a major concern amongst hobbyists. The other issue, of course, is when plants are made available for sale, when they lack an established root system. Now, this is fine when they're offered as a cutting and the seller makes it perfectly clear what it is you're actually purchasing. I make regular imports from Indonesia for the UK market, and as you may already know, importing rare aroids is an extremely risky business. Now, a few things to consider should you choose to import plants yourself. Can the seller or grower actually be trusted to deliver the plants in the first place? Is the seller a legitimate grower, or do they simply lift the plants from the wild? Will they arrange a phyto certificate for you for customs clearance? Will they use a reputable company for shipping like DHL Express? Because of course the longer the plants are in transit, the less likely they're going to survive when they arrive. How will your plants be packaged? This is a major factor when they have to make a 7,000-mile journey here to the UK. What condition will the plants be in when they arrive? Will the plant that arrives bear any resemblance to the stunning image that you were probably shown online? Do you have conditions yourself to rehab the plant, which could take anything up to 2 months or even longer? Now, should you choose to go and import the plant yourself and you are aware of all the potential risks, there is no doubt that you will save on the cost of buying a fully acclimated UK plant. Now, should you feel that the risk is too high and you would prefer to take delivery of a fully acclimated UK plant on a next day service to minimise shipping stress, then this is the service we offer here at Ultimate Tropicals. Now, I'll just quickly run through the procedure that we go through here to acclimate our imported plants. The moment that imported plants arrive here in the UK, they're unboxed, they're inspected for any yellowing or dying leaves, any rotting roots, and these are removed with immediate effect. The plants are then sprayed with a rubbing alcohol solution to kill any pests that may be present on them. And then they'll be placed in a bowl of distilled water from anywhere between 24 to 72 hours. And this will depend on the length of time that they were actually in transit. We then place our plants into breathable orchid pots that contain perlite, and they will stay in there for 7 days to help the roots recover from the rigorous cleansing procedure they undergo before being exported. At this time, we add a Super Thrive solution to aid root recovery and regeneration. Now, following this period, plants that have a strong root system will be placed into clear orchid pots containing our special mix of substrate, which is extremely fast draining. They will also be sprayed with a pesticide and fungal treatment and will be watered with distilled water, ranges in room temperature between 23 and 29 degrees. Now, those plants that are deemed not to have strong root systems will remain in their perlite pots until such time that we deem the roots to be strong and viable to actually be potted up into our soil mix. Now, sometimes this can take just an extra week or so, and sometimes it can take 2 or 3 months It just depends on the stress factor that they incurred during the shipping process. Once the plants have had a few weeks to settle down into their new surroundings, they will all be treated with a mixture of natural neem oil and a horticultural soap as a pest prevention measure. All the plants that we import will remain in our acclimation facility behind me, and they will stay in there for an absolute minimum of 2 months from the day we receive them, and they have to produce at least one new UK leaf before we make them available for sale. Now, hopefully, as you can see, our clear business focus is to supply premium and UK acclimated plants to discerning hobbyists and collectors alike here for the UK market. Now, if that's something that you may well be interested in, then that is a service that we're able to provide. Thank you for listening, and I hope to speak to you real soon. Bye for now.